The chair recognizes the honourable member for Long Island.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy. Mr. Deputy, I'm pleased to rise in this place on behalf of the great people of Long Island, who I have the great privilege of representing here for the second consecutive term. Mr. Deputy, I want to begin by wishing a belated happy birthday to my grandfather, who turned 89 last week on the 11th. So to him, Bishop Gibson, a man of faith, a man of honor and integrity, a prayerful man, a man who I aspire to embody all of the good traits and qualities that he represents. I continue to be a work in progress, but certainly he is a role model, an honorable gentleman. Mr. Deputy, I also want to give condolences to the family of Ms. Inez Adderley, particularly her husband, former principal and teacher and principal, Mr. Lawrence Adderley. I wish to also express my sympathies to the family of Ms. Zerlene Taylor and extend my condolences, particularly to her daughter, Tracy, her granddaughter, Nisha, and the entire family. Mr. Deputy, I'm going to be very, very brief with respect to my commentary on this legislation, or this proposed legislation, this bill. Mr. Deputy, we see, just on a cursory glance, or even an in-depth read of this, you don't see any major changes to the law. These are all minor amendments. Whilst I understand and appreciate the need for updating the law, this, frankly, is a redo of the legislation that already existed. Mr. Deputy, there's nothing really groundbreaking, just a handful of slight changes to the previous act, repeating much of what already existed. And so I share the sentiments that were expressed by at least two of my colleagues here today, the member for East Grand Bahama as well as the member for St. Anne's. We are expecting monumental and radical change and far-fetching, far-reaching legislation. And we're looking forward to that, those kinds of legislation coming forward. We appreciate the insights with respect to technological advancements and so on and so forth. Mr. Deputy, I want to note, though, that the current Law Reform Act, the one that's being repealed, limits the appointee or the appointees as being someone with the experience of having had judicial office or some experience as a legal practitioner or a teacher of law in a university, versus what is now proposed. This bill would allow for the appointment of anyone who a prime minister believes has, quote, special qualifications, training, or experience, and that includes a public officer. So in this case, why are we reducing or watering down or removing the legal experience requirements and qualifications needed for persons to sit on this committee? Is it possible that this bill would also make for an extremely political commission? Mr. Deputy, the Prime Minister's office, which is the office, not the person or the holder, we look at another part of the bill which speaks to commissioners. It says that, so right now, you're looking for commissioners to be appointed by the Prime Minister going forward, whomever that person might be. This proposed piece of legislation seeks to displace the Governor General as the person who would be making those appointments. And now we see that the numbers for persons appointed to the commission will be reduced, or the time frame that they can serve will be reduced from the current 5-year appointment period to 3 years. So you see a watering down somewhat of the legislation from the qualifications necessary to become commissioners to the time frame that these persons are sitting as commissioners, to who can appoint persons to the commission. So, so one wonders what led to the reduction in the time frame for the appointments from 5 to 3 years. Mr. Deputy, moving along, I want to speak to my constituency. Since we lost the government, Long Island has come to a standstill, and I mean that literally. I'd like to see, I would like to join, and I heard a colleague of mine thanking, I think my good friend, the member for Golden Isles today. I'd like to join some members in thanking ministers in here too. However, there's nothing to thank anyone for. So we got a number of challenges. Let's look at the sporting facilities. In Millis Park, the Bahamas Games is coming up, and the park is in a state of deterioration. Bleachers are broken down, the scorer's booth broken down, and the facilities need an upgrade. In fact, all of the sports facilities in Long Island are in a state of disrepair. All. Millis Park, Clarencetown Park. In fact, at Clarencetown, where the kids go to have their district sports meets and other events, we need a Mundo track. We need proper lighting. Bleachers. The bleachers are falling to pieces. We need, even the school basketball courts can be upgraded and repaired. We don't have any proper track and field facility on the island. And so all of the sporting facilities on Long Island needs repair and upgrading, all of them. During my time at another place, Mr. Deputy, we sent a brand new water truck to Long Island. That was meant to service the areas that didn't have any pipe works, as everyone can appreciate. You do these works incrementally. So the staff and residents had been complaining that the water truck that was there at the time had a number of mechanical issues and a leaky tank. So we procured 2 trucks at one time, sent one to Long Island, and sent the other to Eleuthera. Interestingly, the one that was sent to Long Island was shipped out a year or so ago, and that has caused some water challenges with those folks who need water at different points on the island, particularly those areas that aren't serviced by pipe work. Again, during my time at the other place, I would have sent, we sent pipes to carry out waterworks in Millis. We cleared down the roadside for the works, removing all the bush and other impediments. But the question is, where are the pipes today? And why wasn't the work done in Millis? Millis, the work is still not done in Millis. And we don't know where the pipes are that were sent to Long Island. Millions were earmarked for waterworks from Burn Ground to Seymour's Long Island via a Caribbean Development Bank loan. We would have signed that contract had the election not been called. However, the Caribbean Development Bank was reviewing the independent engineering consultant's report at the time, and they were about to give final sign-off for us to move ahead with signing that contract to bring water works to northern Long Island, the most northern points, Burn Ground to Seymour's. So the question is, what happened to that project? Why have we not heard anything about that project since that time? And then, of course, you have the Long Island Airport. You've not received any concrete update with respect to this airport. And we've been waiting for this airport for many, many years. But during the time that we were in office, we undertook the architectural work. We completed the environmental impact assessment report. We completed a survey plan. The engineering works were done. Tenders went out, bids came in, and to my understanding, the bids were reviewed. So what happened? What happened to the airport? Where's the contract? Why wasn't it signed? What's the latest development with respect to the airport for Long Island? Mr. Deputy, In Long Island, we continue to play a game called Duck a Hole. Duck a Hole. You know, driving on Long Island is like driving on a golf course with large potholes. I mean, just this, you're talking about persons losing tires, axles, wheel, other issues. I mean, your whole extension, you got to replace driving in Long Island. The driving experience between Grace and Seymour's is the worst. You're talking about the roadway being littered with potholes of all types, varying sizes. The worst. Central Long Island needs some work, particularly between Buckley's and Petty's, where you have the road sinking at points, going on a bit of an airplane, you have potholes, etc. But from Grace to Seymour's, my gosh, the road is in a horrendous state, and we need help. Mr. Deputy, I often spoken about some 5 miles of road in North Long Island that was supposed to have been paved over the last 3 years. And a contract was awarded, and I've complained that the contractor has been placing the signs for the settlements in the wrong places. I know that they've met with local government, etc., but the signs remain in the wrong places. The signs are misspelled. The settlements are misspelled, some of them. Some of the signs are in the wrong location, where another settlement is supposed to be. And frankly, some of the road signs, particularly the signs that the yield or corner stop signs, are too small. There's a school zone sign that's right, and this is a school zone sign at North Long Island High. That's right at the pedestrian crossing. I mean, that don't make any sense. Makes no sense. It should be some ways away where people could see the sign and understand that, especially if it's tourists, understand that they need to brake or slow down because they're entering a school zone. So these signs, we would hope that they would move to replace these signs with signs of a more appropriate size, that they would consult the residents, the people of Long Island, about where the settlements are. You know, we submitted, when we were in office, I got a CD from Texter Inquest, one of the foremost realtors on Long Island, and he had laid out all the settlement markings. And I think I had submitted that. I know I submitted a copy previously to the Ministry of Works. But that showed where all of the settlements are. You know, it's a settlement, I think, you know, you cannot change settlement names, man. Okay, this settlement names that we see are completely changed. And this should not happen. Okay, some consultation would be most helpful. But with respect to the road in North Long Island, those 5 miles of road, it shouldn't take 3 years to pave 5 miles of road and to continue to put the quarry down. Folks get in accidents, get asthma, get other issues. They go back, they put more quarry down. We're waiting for them to put down the asphalt, the hot mix. And we've been waiting now almost 4 years for that to happen. Mr. Deputy, yes, a contract was signed in 2020 during COVID, so no work could happen then. But it's been 2 years since you all have come to office, so nothing has happened since. Mr. Deputy, in Long Island, we have no recreational spaces, no parks, no proper parks on the island. And we're hoping that when the government moves to create parks, that Long Island is considered for at least 3 parks. One in Central, one in South, one in North. We have places cleared off land that we call parks, but they're not parks. They're not proper parks. I know that there was a plan under the last the former Minister of Works, the last administration, to put parks on these islands. And I'd written to the minister at the time, and that should still be on file, requesting parks to be placed at certain points along the island. Mr. Deputy, I also want to note that the clinics on Long Island, we have we have challenges with medicine at the clinics. Challenges with medicine. Persons are complaining that they aren't able to get diabetes medication. They aren't able to get medication for hypertension. These are all basic meds that should be at the clinics. And my constituents are complaining when they go to the clinic for these things, people are getting slips to send to Nassau or to find a pharmacy of some sort to service or to fill these to get their medication. Come on. You know, you cannot have the two main clinics on the island without proper medicine. And my island is an island where most of my constituents are 50 years old and above. So I'd say at least 55% or thereabouts would be across 50. And this is why I'm so keen to see these road signs, properly sized road signs, because when you get older, you start to have sight challenges as well. Mr. Deputy, in 2021, an IDB loan was gotten for clinic repairs and renovation, and funds were earmarked for works at the clinic in Deadman Ski, in addition to a brand new ambulance. And we continue to hope that we'll be able to have these works done, which will to include a lab, a new ambulance, a completely refurbished, renovated, up-to-date clinic. You know, we're sick of picking up our people from the side of the road, the back of trucks. Sick of picking up our people on plywood, because the clinics don't even have stretchers. And so we're hearing a lot of promises, but we would like to see some kind of works happening to the clinic in Deadman Ski. And also there was some work to be done at the clinic in Sims. And I believe that, I know for a fact that today, the morgue in Deadman Ski has not been in working condition for some time now. Okay, so bodies have to be transported for many miles down to the clinic in North Long Island. And sometimes you have, you know, the clinic, the morgues could only hold so many people. So I think they only built to hold about 3 bodies at a time. And I remember there was a time when there was about 6 or 7 bodies at the clinic in Sims. So folks had to come in and quickly embalm bodies to preserve them, because now you had to have, another one had to go into the morgue. So the clinic, these both are the main clinics in Long Island, are in desperate need. Repairs, and we would like for that morgue also in the immediate to be fixed in Deadman Ski. As I conclude, Mr. Deputy, I want to note that police officers have complained, business owners and residents have complained. The police have no vehicles in North Long Island. I've raised this issue in recent time. So in other words, the police in North Long Island are not able to quickly respond to any complaints or concerns raised by business houses or residents in that part of the island. Sometimes you hear the police cars, the sirens blaring, coming up north from down south. But in Long Island, we turn it the other way around. But these, I mean, you can imagine, by the time the police get to a scene, if there's a robbery or some incident, persons are long gone. You know, we had an incident lately where there's a plane that landed in Long Island, and some folks left the plane in the middle of the runway, a suspected drug trafficking exercise. And by the time the police were able to get there, the plane was empty, persons had disappeared, and the plane was just sitting in the middle of the runway. That plane remains in Long Island. So, Mr. Deputy, we're hoping that the police in the north of the island would be properly equipped with vehicles so that they're able to service the residents of northern Long Island. Mr. Deputy, I thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Deputy.
Thank you, Honourable Member.